Hello YouTube and welcome to GrunfWorks. This is episode 57 of the Interplanetary Voyage of Exploration, and in previous episode we have successfully completed the communications network around Duna. And that being said and done, as you can see, we have like 3 satellites that are kind of relaying the information, and that leaves our exploration ship available to actually become the orbital station, Duna Orbital, which we planned initially. And right now I think our satellite number 3 is finally coming into its final position, which we want to keep, so we're just doing a small adjustment to make sure that that one is correctly placed. And okay, pointing maneuver prograde, and then we'll be matching orbital period, and that should be enough. Putting the kill rotation, because when we're kind of fiddling with these fine things, we don't want our maneuver nodes to be dancing and our thrust use to be chasing it. So okay, and let's burn. It's a pretty small burn, 20 meters per second, so it's nothing really major. Okay, cool. And 556. That's more or less exactly right. So I'm actually doing one small correction, I guess. And while I'm doing that, I also want to be planning our return window from Duna to Kerbin, because we want to know when is Jeb gonna be coming home. It doesn't hurt to plan now, because I think the return will be in quite a while. So yeah, and we don't want Jeb to run out of resources by then. I know that he just arrived, but since we'll be doing lots of other missions, it's easy to forget and our Kerbal to starve. That we don't want to do. So, softly aligning to get 1000 by 1000 even, and this is the actually value, as you can see, 557.36, which I'm gonna save as the orbital period and align all other satellites according to it. Returning the thrust limiter, killing rotation, toggling SAS, and basically, to me, this satellite has been positioned, period. So, I think this is the one with the faulty tank. Or no, this is the correct one. Okay. It's hard for me to actually see which one is which. So now on this one I'm reducing. And the first one I have positioned, and the second one I'm now trying to basically reposition a little bit to make sure that we get an even spacing. Yeah, so in previous episode I had some issues when it comes to my probes buckarooing, so I managed to align them more or less, but here I'm just gonna align them a little bit more. So Duna comes at 4. Decreasing my periapsis and thus orbital period. So in like 2, 3, 4 orbits, I would basically be able to come a little bit ahead of the other satellite and basically come ahead of our position. So that's kind of the my reasoning behind it. So yeah, thrust limiting on my engine so that I can actually come to the apoapsis of 1200 even. That is the next goal, I guess. Rising our apoapsis. Come on, it's 0.6 meters, very small burn. And 1200. Okay, great. So next time I get at the periapsis, I will once again burn, and I think this time I will burn until I get my network set up. And you can see here me fiddling with trying to see what's the configuration of my satellites. And this actually might be quite decent, but let's see if I do get a connection from the other one. I might want actually now a little bit more of a burn. Let's see. For some reason I don't get the connection between the other two satellites. Oh well, let's see. I'm trying to basically draw a triangle around Duna with my satellites and as communication relays. So the lines, the green line is the active communication, and the gray lines show potential connections for those of you that haven't played much with remote tech before. So now I'm just making sure that basically we cover some redundancy. So now I'm going into higher orbit to slow actually down so that my other satellites can catch up basically. And as you can see, I'm now trying to get... Come on, why don't I get the connection between this one and the one on the top left? I don't get it. Oh, now I do. Okay, for a reason completely unknown to me. Well, fair enough. That means that I should be getting back and matching orbital period, because now we have connection between these two, and then I have to fix the third one, I guess. So the one is fixed, the second one is now being put to exact matching orbit. So I have to burn a little bit with thrust limiter to make sure that I nail it exactly. I'm now very carefully burning. 558, a little bit correction there. It has to be exactly right, so 558, another side, come on. Thrust limit 557, 36. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. That's the second one positioned correctly, and shut down in terms of engine. And here you can see our dish connection. So we have like multiple redundancy, which is actually what I'm aiming for, because I know my network setup will deteriorate over time, and that's why I actually need. So sorry if it's taking a little bit longer. I mean, in terms of placing the satellites, I really wanted to get them right, and I wanted you to see how I'm doing that, because even though I have created basically a tutorial for how to set up a communications network, I still sometimes get questions in terms, okay, how do you do it? So this is another video on how you actually can do it. The most important thing is to match the orbital period, and right now I'm trying to use my core exploration ship and making sure to somehow rendezvous it with Jab's lander, and I'm trying to put it in the like orbit where basically we would be able to actually, well, rendezvous with Jab's lander. So fiddling a little bit back and forth, and let's see, now putting a maneuver node in the, I think it was ascending, descending node, whatever. And yeah. Okay, just making sure that I fix the inclination. I basically want to fix the inclination for the orbital space station to be almost 0, so that it's completely, in the equatorial plane around Duna, because wherever you take away from on Duna, it will be easier to get to it. So yeah, I'm right now making sure that I get to the maneuver node and then make a short burn just to correct, and then we will be hopefully rendezvousing Jab's lander to our orbital station. That's kind of the goal anyway. Okay, yeah, that's great. And now at periapsis, let's see if we can actually... What? Yeah, I'm trying actually to get in 100 by 100 orbit when it comes to Duna, because I want our station to be in low Duna orbit. Well, yeah. Because if we'll be going to Duna and then back from Duna, I think this is a good stopover to make sure that you can resupply even after takeoff from Duna and then just continue on your merry way. And our basically communication satellites are high enough so that we actually get... you can use them as relays. Perfect. And now just... yeah, fixing a little bit. It's always a fiddly job if you want to place it correctly. And I want to be 100 by 100, so you have to be exact. And let's call the station Duna Orbital. Or Station Duna Orbital 1, yes. I'm really unimaginative when it comes to the names of my stations, but then again, when I look into the list at tracking station, I at least know what it is and where it's going to. So that naming convention has worked for me so far, so I cannot really complain. Okay, I think I've fixed the inclination to put it as little as it can be, and then the next step would be, I think, to actually do final orbital correction in terms, I think, of apoapsis. So I want to be burning at periapsis and reducing the apoapsis to 100. I mean, all these preparations do pay off in later missions, but it do require a little bit of time and patience. They certainly required my patience as when I was playing it, and I'm trying to do a little bit time accelerated so that they don't require as much of your patience as viewers, because that's not the best idea, I guess. Okay, so now what I want to make sure is that I hold the station normal, and that's because it makes dockings much easier. Cool. Let there be some lighting and... cool. And I don't want to decouple the boosting stage just yet because there's some delta V in it, which I want to be using to refuel Jab's lander. So that's the reasoning why I haven't decoupled it yet. And here we have Jab. Hey, how are you doing, buddy? Are you bored? Well, let's rename it Duna Lander 1 Jab and let us set up a rendezvous with our station. First, we fix the inclination to make sure that we are on the same... that's on the same inclination. And once that's done, we will be doing the rendezvous. And like I said, the reason for this rendezvous is not only to refuel, but also Jeb in his initial lander, I'm not 100% convinced that he has enough supplies for this whole entirety length of the Duna mission. Because it is 1 year and some like 200 days, 274 days until our Duna to Kerbin window, together with another travel time back to Kerbin. So it's actually quite a long time until we can get back from Duna. And that's why I want Jeb to be connected to the fresh source of supplies for as long as he can, and then basically only to have him disconnected when he lands and when he returns back to Kerbin. So that's the idea. Because as you saw, like, we have enough for some, maybe 600 or for some days, but not too much. So the inclination is fixed, and now let's see if we can manage to get a nice encounter. Ooh, and they're completely spaced apart, but what about on the one of the following orbits, huh? Come on, work with me over here, will ya? No, no. Oh, there it is. Well, that's good enough for me, but it will take us a few orbits. So, our maneuver node is in 1 day and 2 hours and 52 minutes. So we're doing laps around Duna until we get both Jeb and the station in the proper alignment. And it's supposed to happen in some 5 hours, so a few more orbits and then we would be going into the docking mode, I guess. Or first rendezvous and then docking. Okay, and on this orbit we're starting the burn. Cool. And here we go, burning. Burn, 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 burn. And let's see, and there we go. Intersect. Perfect. And I just wanted to create another maneuver node so that I get automatic alarm once we come back to it. Okay, let's do the time acceleration until we get closer. Now this time we cannot time accelerate as much because we are actually low in Duna orbit. Our periapsis is only at 54, which is, well, 14 kilometers out of the atmosphere, so it's pretty low. But then again, sure. And we're going into the target mode, coming close on our encounter. And there's our Duna Orbital station, 4 kilometers out, opening the docking port and starting to do the rendezvous dance. Aligning our two indicators, which basically just says that us going back are going directly on the Duna Orbital station, and we're closing to it. Okay, 100 meters out, and now I'm just now setting the target ports, bringing up the docking alignment indicator, and it's time that we start thinking about docking. So I first wanted to put it like this, but I realized then that would basically mean the Jeb would be at the bottom, so I really want Jeb when to exit to be on the top. So yeah, we'll dock it in this manner. It's not really that much important. Making sure that we're correctly aligned, and now it's just a simple game of translation. Once again, our docking align indicator is a fantastic tool. Coming closer, 82 meters out. Coming ever so closer on our Duna Orbital station. 15 meters, slowing down our horizontal lateral thrust, and now just docking on RCS ever so carefully. Perfect! We have docking. Okay. And our Orbital Lab 1 has ample amount of supplies. Great. Okay, now we have some upgrades that we actually did, and it is time that we pay a little attention and give some love to our SSTOs program. If you remember, in the previous episode we have unlocked just enough science to get the rapiers. Yay! And it's actually, I'm very happy about it because it has been long awaited on my to-do list to get the rapiers to be able to actually do some more orbital stuff with our SSTOs, because let's face it, these turbojets, I really don't like them. Aerospikes, yeah, they're great, but still, I prefer rapiers. So let's see how they're doing. Well, that look enough, but I would actually prefer to get some more orbital speed on the... Yeah, let's put 4 rapiers at the end. I think that will work out for the better. And yeah, a little bit rework once again on my frontal fins and a little bit more rework on my ladders. I'm really hoping I eventually will have some luck with positioning of the ladders. Okay, checking our RCS build date to make sure that our translation and all this stuff is okay. Removing this experiment, and actually I do want to be putting something else in mind, because ever since we had a Black Cat episode, well, our cable was broke. The processor was fried due to the exposure to the sun. So right now the idea is to put cacti, wide field camera and asteroid cameras here as a part of the Kerbal attachment system in our SSTO, and some pipe endpoints if we need to refuel, grappling hook and all, well, pipe endpoints and that kind of stuff. So this one will actually be going on a crazy prototype mission, and that one would be to go and fix the cable. I'm not sure if it will have enough delta V, but as a backup plan, the idea would be that it stops at our science lab, refuels, goes to cable, comes back and then re-enters. So yeah, sort of like a little bit from the movie Armageddon, you know. First they docked to the space station for refueling, and then they continued onwards. So this is pretty much doing the same with our SSTO, coming up all the way up to the station and then performing the docking, refueling, and then yeah, and I want to have as much as possible delta V, and that's why I decided to remove the actual RCS fuel tank. That basically makes our airplane or spaceplane a lot lighter. So yeah, just repositioning the thrusters a little bit to make sure that we are still correctly aligned, which we are. And yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. I think only I have to fix my control groups. Just checking, and I was thinking if I could put like 2 of these fuel tanks, but then again, it's almost as heavy as the Mark II monopropellant tank, so let's get drastical. So I always over-engineer my ships, so let's try a little bit on the reductive side this time. I think it will be fine, and let's build a vessel. Perfect. Well, guys and gals, I think, yeah, actually build that one rather than the other one. Great. Yeah, let's just see. I forgot to fix the action groups for the rapiers and that's something that we really have to do. So I'm just controlling my action groups. And I think, guys, I'm gonna call this for this episode. Like if you like the episode, and hit subscribe button for more KSP content that should be coming soon. Thank you again for watching. This is GrunfWorks signing off.